Welcome to Native Talk Arizona, presented by Native Health and KRDP 90.7 FM. Later in the show, Robert Mesta will tell us about the Liberty Wildlife Non-Eagle Feather Repository Program, and we'll chat with Kristy Pavatea, a teacher in the Tucson Unified School District and winner of the June 2023 Honored Award. But right now, host Lanasha Pawadi talks with Dinora Gonzalez, Senior Program Manager at Thunderbird Global Development.
I'm host Lanasha Pawadi. In the studio with me is Dinora Gonzalez, Senior Program Manager at Thunderbird Global Development, investing in the power of Native American women entrepreneurs. Hello, Dinora. It's an honor to have you on our show today.
Hi, thank you.
And can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your journey?
Yes, my name is Dinora Gonzalez, and I started working with Thunderbird since 2016. At the beginning, it was mostly in marketing and admissions, but I knew that this program was actually happening in a department that it was completely different from what I was doing, and I started volunteering for the program. I did a lot of the social media. I was mentoring some of the women in the first generations, and after that, I got a promotion, and now I'm the senior manager for this program. So really happy about that.
And can you tell us about ASU Thunderbird School of Global Management and the Project Dreamcatcher?
Thunderbird has always been trying to help women around the world. Mm-hmm. In 2004, we started this program, not necessarily this one. We started doing programming for women in Afghanistan. And back in that day, we couldn't go, the faculty couldn't travel because it wasn't safe for them. So we decided to bring the women on campus. So we did a lot of the training for a group of at least 20 women entrepreneurs. So they got trained, and it was an amazing experience. And they went back, and that was a ripple effect. They started training all the women on how to start a business, how to be more involved in their finances and be more in control. So it was so successful that they decided to amplify this programming, and we started working with Freeport McMoran, the foundation, and they had the vision. They wanted to start doing this for Native American women. So we designed the program, and it was very similar to what we did in Afghanistan with the women from Afghanistan, but it was from women from the reservations. Oh, okay. And we started recruiting and bring them on campus back when we were in Glendale, and that was in 2015 where we actually created the first cohort.
Can you tell us more about the Project Dreamcatcher?
Absolutely. Project Dreamcatcher is a partnership between Thunderbird School of Global Management and the foundation from Freeport McMoran. We get the funding from them, but we do all the programming. We basically promote it, and we do the recruitment. And it's for women. At the beginning was only for 5 tribes, but lately we open it up, and it's for all the women on the reservation and off the reservation if you are from a tribe in Arizona. So the program is like a boot camp. You come to Thunderbird, and we give you classes, MBA classes with the faculty from Thunderbird, and you learn how to start a business, or if you have a business, how to accelerate that business. We give you also information about how to have access to capital and the networking. I think that is the key component. The women feel like they are in a safe space where they can share their culture and also all the challenges that you get as a woman entrepreneur if you live on the reservation and even off the reservation. So we give you access to education, but at the same time, the networking and the ability to learn from people that they've been successful, because we have past participants to be part of the program as well.
Yeah. Wow, that is amazing. It is definitely a great resource, especially for individuals that want to start a business and don't know where to start. How many women have gone through this program?
We have had 7 generations already, and it's 156 women.
Oh, wow. Yeah. And what, I know you mentioned some of the mentoring that you offer there. Can you tell us more about the type of mentoring, coaching, and assistance that they receive?
Yes. One of the things that, depending on your industry, you want to know how to open a business. If you're living on a reservation, how do you can register the business. So we do mentoring about that. We also give access to where you can get access to funding. I mean, if you want to start a nonprofit, you want to know what are the steps to register and get, the permission to get like the funding, how to write the grants, and all that funding that you are going to need in order to make an impact. So we have a lot of the professors to give the ABCs on that. And we also have the past participants, they actually are mentors for the program. They come back to us and they start like guiding the girls and saying like, I was sitting like in the past in that chair, like feeling insecure and thinking I don't belong here. But when you are sitting there, you understand I can do this. I mean, there's other women that are going through the same challenges that I am, and we are getting the tools that we need in order to advance. And even if they just have the idea, it's just a way for you to feel like I can do this, and also there's a support system. And also the professors are giving you the tools that you need. We teach them about marketing, about booking, and then also they learn a lot about how to grow depending on the circumstances. Like when the pandemic hit, they didn't know how to start like charging online. So we do a lot of the training for that. How to get access to the PP loans, for instance. The federal government was giving money for the small businesses to continue during the pandemic. So we do a lot of the training for them as well. So it's not only going to the full week, on campus. You get the support system even after. So if you have a question after graduating the program, we are accessible to you. The professors are always there for you. You have the contact names. And we also give you access to organizations that they can support you in this journey.
And are all of these courses and mentoring offered in person, or are there any virtual opportunities as well? We
do have actually both. When you are on campus, everything is in person. You have the faculty there for you, like teaching like a regular class. It's very intense, actually. But after you graduate the program, and even before, we give you access to this program that is called Dream Builder. Dream Builder is basically a program that you can access online, and you will build your business plan. So when you come to Thunderbird, you already have a business plan ready, and we can guide you on how to polish it. And if you have specific questions about, I don't know, like how can I get licensing for my business, or where can I pay my taxes, or I have specific questions about how I can hire more people for, growing my business. So they already have a very clear idea of the things that they are actually, or the resources that they need, so we can provide that for them. And also, after they graduate the program, Thunderbird we are creating different programming for different levels of whatever you're doing when you are an entrepreneur. So there's free access to programming that the school is doing, like 100 million learners. That is basically for somebody who's already with a business that is set up. You can get into this education online as well, and it's free, and it really helps you to get to the next level.
And at what point in the business life cycle should women be applying?
That's a really good question. Most people think that you need to have a business in order to come to Thunderbird. And the reality is you can just have an idea, but it has to be very clear. One of the things that we look into the application is if you are living on the reservation, we actually take that into account, because we know that if you live on the reservation, you don't have access to resources. And for us, that is an important key component when we're looking at who is applying to the program. And if you have a very clear idea, and your business or whatever organizations that you're planning to do is going to have a direct impact on the community, that is something that we want to support. So you don't necessarily have to have a business. If you have it, that's great. But also we want to hear your ideas, and we want to be able to help you and follow through after graduation, and make sure that you have the resources to open a business or to launch the organization that you were like dreaming about.
Yeah. And how long are the programs usually?
Usually, like, you come to Thunderbird, it's a full week. It's very intense. We start like on a Sunday, or the ladies are traveling from different parts of the state. They stay in a nice hotel. They come to Thunderbird for a full week for the different sessions and trainings. And after graduation, they go back, but we follow up with different trainings as well, and just stay in touch. But also, we want to create this sisterhood. Like, they stay in touch with each other to be accountable. And then we actually do kind of like a survey. After a year that they completed the program, we want to know who opened a business, who actually grow, in a bigger, like maybe they open another business, or they launch the organization, or they just hire people for their businesses, or they just basically just, like they register the business and they go in little by little, but they are advancing. So we want to know how is the impact that the program is having on them. So we do that as well.
How can women apply, or are there any specific requirements?
The application is already up. If you visit our website, if you go to thunderbird.edu, you can go to the entrepreneurship, and you're going to see there's a landing page for Dreamcatcher, and you can apply directly there. And you can also follow us in our social media. If you go to Facebook for Project Dreamcatcher, the application is there. I am promoted with, you guys are promoting it. Thank you. I'm trying to get as much exposure because we want to have as many applicants as possible. And the requirements are pretty simple. You just need to belong to one of the tribes, and you have to have proof of that. And also, it doesn't matter how old you are. You can be, the youngest is 16, and if you even are a grandma, and you can apply to the program as long as you have a very clear idea of what you want to do, and you just fill out the application, and you get like an opportunity to have an interview, and if you get selected, then you are part of the cohort.
Oh, wow. That is amazing. I'm pretty sure you've went through a lot of different, you helped a lot of different women starting their business. Do you have any favorite success stories?
I have many, but one of my favorites is this girl. Her name is Kaya Jackson. She is San Carlos Apache. And Kaya was really young, and she graduated in 2017. When she came to Thunderbird, she just was a recent graduate, super young, and she was just, she wanted to start a business, and she was working for the economic development department in the tribe, helping other people in the reservation to open their own businesses. So when she came over, she didn't have a clear idea what exactly she wanted to do, but she knew she wanted to start something. So when she started taking the classes, she realized she liked fashion. I can either open something in fashion, but she also had this view and necessity that she saw in the community. And then she shared with us, after years that she went through the program, when she was a kid, she was attacked by a dog. And she was always afraid of, animals on the reservation. And then she realized, but I really like animals. I really would like to have my own pet. And then when she realized that, she didn't know how to take care of a dog. She realizes that they can be a health hazard. And she didn't know how to put the vaccinations or the things that they need, because in order to have it as part of your family, they need care.
Yes.
And there was no resources on the reservation. So she started thinking, what about if I start my own nonprofit?
Yes.
So she did. We give her all the resources to how to start the process, and she's running it right now. It's called GART, Geronimo Animal Rescue. I can't remember the rest, but it's online, and she has the community volunteers, and right now they have clinics. They go, the vets that don't live on the reservation, they go to the space that she has, and they do vaccination campaigns and help to create shelters for the animals, and just to help the community on getting information on how to be, better with their animals. And I think it's a beautiful story, because it's like something that was a horrible story, used to say, it became such a beautiful way to give back to the community and say, hey, we need to do something about this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I bet it is really rewarding seeing individuals go through that program and become successful entrepreneurs themselves.
Yes, it is.
Oh,
it's
wow.
amazing.
And finally, how can our listeners learn more about Project Dreamcatcher, and how can someone reach you if they have further questions?
Like I said, you can follow us on our social media. If you go to Project Dreamcatcher in Facebook, we are also in Instagram, LinkedIn, and the applications are, on social media. You can apply. It's online. It's really easy. If you want to get more information, you can go on the website, thunderbird.edu, and go to entrepreneurship, and you can find the page for us. You can also find us in YouTube. It's Thunderbird for Good, and you can see the videos with a lot of the ladies that have been through the program, and they are telling the stories and their success after completing the program. So I think it's if you have an idea, if you really want to start like growing as an entrepreneur, just apply. And it's open for any age, anybody. And if you live in Arizona, if you belong to a tribe, I would love to review your application.
That is so amazing. I would like to thank you, Dinora, for taking time out to talk to us today to tell us more about this amazing program.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having us, and I appreciate your time.
Coming up, Lanasha Puadi talks with Robert Mesta about the Liberty Wildlife Non-Eagle Feather Repository Program. Support for KRDP 90.7 FM comes in part from Native Health, with 2 locations in Phoenix, 4041 North Central Avenue, Building C, near the corner of Central Avenue and Indian School Road, and at 2423 West Dunlap Avenue. Native Health is also located in Mesa at 777 West Southern Avenue, near the corner of Southern Avenue and Extension Road. Native Health provides primary medical, dental, behavioral health, WIC, and wellness services for the urban Native American community. For more information, call 602-279-5262 or visit our webpage at nativehealthphoenix.org.
Welcome back to Native Talk Arizona, presented by Native Health and KRDP 90.7 FM. I'm host Lanasha Puadi. Robert Mesta is the director of the Liberty Wildlife Non-Eagle Feather Repository Program, a partnership with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service that accepts, holds, and distributes non-eagle feathers to Native Americans for religious and ceremonial purposes. Hello, Robert. It's an honor to have you on our show today.
Hello. It's an honor to be here.
And before we get started, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I was an ornithologist with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service for 40 years, and I specialized in directing bird conservation programs. Some of the larger programs that I directed were the Condor Recovery Program, the Eagle Recovery Program, and the Peregrine Falcon Recovery Program. And so that was my expertise. But while I was working for the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, and this goes back to 2007, I was part of a team that put together and established the Non-Eagle Feather Repository Program. And then when I retired in 2017, Liberty Wildlife asked me if I would come direct that program for them. And so I kind of went full circle as far as my involvement with the Feather Repository.
Robert, can you tell us more about what the Liberty Wildlife is and when it started?
Liberty Wildlife, it was established back in 1981. Liberty Wildlife is a nonprofit conservation organization that's dedicated to nurturing wildlife through rehabilitation, education, and conservation services and sustainable actions. You know, we started our career in a backyard in Scottsdale, but in 2016 we moved into a state-of-the-art building here along the south bank of Salt River, and every year we rehabilitate literally thousands of birds. In fact, last year we took in orphaned and injured birds to the number of almost 13,000. So we do rehabilitation, but we also conduct bird rescues too. I mean, it could be anything from having somebody call because a nest blew out of a tree in their backyard to assisting one of the utility companies, you know, to help get an injured bird off one of their power lines, or to remove a nest that might be endangered on one of their power lines. So we do that all over the state, and we also do education outreach programs on our campus and then off our campus. So we do educational wildlife programs all over the valley.
And is that all of the different programs that Liberty Wildlife offers?
So Liberty Wildlife basically has two focuses. First, we have our hospital where we conduct all our rehabilitation, of injured birds and orphan birds, and we have a state-of-the-art hospital in which we perform that. We have a staff of veterinarians and technicians and also volunteers. But on the flip side, we have our educational half, and then our educational half is where we do our outreach, and we have a lot of conservation programs for adults and children. And one of our main tools is that we have trained birds that we can utilize to actually give practical demonstrations on bird conservation.
I know you mentioned your numbers of the 3,000 birds and how you also do the bird rescue. Can you expand on the other kind of animals that you assist with?
Okay. Well, we mostly do birds, but we don't turn any animals away. So it could be bobcat or a javelina or a coyote. It could be a Gila monster, squirrels. You know, if they're injured or orphaned and need help, we accept them, and we receive them in two different ways. We have the public actually brings them to us here at our facility, but we also have a network of volunteers called transporters located throughout the state. So when we get a call, say from somebody in Flagstaff that has an injured eagle, we call one of our transporters that lives in Flagstaff, and they'll pick it up and bring it down. So we effectively rescue animals throughout the state by utilizing this network of volunteers.
And speaking about injured animals, can you expand on the animal emergency programs?
So if we have an animal that's severely injured and needs to be rescued, it comes into Liberty Wildlife, and in our state-of-the-art hospital, it goes through a series of steps. First, it goes to a room where we call triage is performed. So in that room, we stop the bleeding, all right, or we stop what's actually injured them at that point. And then they go to another area where they get brought in and they're kept until they're better. And then if they need additional help, we actually have an operation room, and they go into the operation room if they need some type of correction, a broken bone, or, that would be an example. And then once they're done doing that, then we have our area where they rehabilitate. And in the meantime, we'll feed them and check on them just like you would somebody in a human hospital. And then at a certain point when we feel that they're strong enough and healed enough to be released back to the wild, then we have volunteers that will take them out into the appropriate habitat in order to be released back to the wild. Our goal, our bottom line is whatever comes in, we want to do everything that we can to return it back to the wild.
Wow, that is amazing, and such a great service for our whole state. I know you briefly mentioned about the educational program, how you had the outreach, and then you also said the conservation programs for youth and adults. Can you tell us more about the conservation programs?
Yes, we have lectures here. We have a large conference room where we have conservation subjects, whether it's the importance of water or conserving grasslands or rehabilitating animals. We do that. But then we also have small courses that are conservation oriented that we make available to the general public, and they can come on campus and take part in those conservation classes. And our most ingenious form of conservation is that we take the animals that we have here in our collection, and usually we'll try to get some diversity, some birds, a mammal, a reptile, and we actually go out to schools and we conduct conservation classes right there, and we do that all over the valley, and that's one of our most effective tools. And also having that animal there that these young people can relate to, so it just makes the message that much easier and that much more effective, because they can see what we're talking about. When we have a bird with a broken wing because somebody shot it, or it ran into a power line or a window, they can actually see the consequence of having buildings that are too tall, or people that are careless about gun safety, that sort of a thing. And the kids really, really respond to it. And we call those our wildlife ambassadors that go out and deliver the conservation message by utilizing live animals that we've rehabbed, but we can't release back to the wild because, they have a bad wing or bad foot. But they're still valuable, right? And we utilize them because, they're teachers just by being what they are.
Can you tell us about the Liberty Wildlife Non-Eagle Feather Repository?
Oh, I sure can. So, in addition to the rehabilitation that we do, the conservation and the education that we do, the Liberty Wildlife also has the Liberty Wildlife Non-Eagle Feather Repository. Liberty Wildlife is permitted by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service to accept, hold, and distribute feathers to Native Americans for religious and ceremonial purposes. It's a national program. We send feathers to Native Americans throughout the United States. We send feathers, and when I say feathers, I mean it could be an individual molted feather, or it could be a wing or a tail or any combination, or even a whole carcass. But we provide that service to Native Americans throughout the United States. In fact, we've sent feathers to Native Americans representing 249 different tribes located in 46 of the 50 states. And of course, in addition to having a goal of helping sustain Native American cultures by providing them those feathers that are, so critical to the construction of religious and ceremonial regalia, implements, and healing implements. All those things that support Native American culture are so embedded and such a big part of Native American culture. We feel that's extremely important. But in addition to that, in addition to helping sustain Native American cultures, our program actually helps to fight the black market. Every year, thousands of birds are taken illegally out of the wild and sold on the black market. So we can provide a legal source of feathers, which we do, and we provide this service at no cost. Then, of course, the strategy is that Native Americans come to us for their feathers, and if they're doing that, they're not buying them, and if they're not buying them, there's not a profit. If there's no profit, then these individuals will quit killing these birds. So it's a very unique program in that it has two very strong focuses. First, helping sustain Native American cultures, but secondly, to help protect North American bird populations. And if that isn't unique enough, we do it by recycling. See, the feathers that we provide Native Americans are those that if we didn't have an appeal for and collect, would be discarded or destroyed. But because the feather repository exists and people all over the United States know that we exist and they send us their feathers or their carcasses or their bird parts, we're able to take these feathers and recycle them and build a national program that benefits Native American culture and helps protect birds.
Oh, wow. That is amazing. That is such a unique program that you have to offer.
Yes.
Do you have any events scheduled for the non-eagle feather repository?
Well, I'm glad that you asked me, because this year, in recognition of the National Native American Heritage Month that will be coming up this winter, on November the 19th, Living Wildlife Non-Eagle Feather Repository will be conducting its first annual Native American Culture and Wildlife Celebration. And so, as you know, Native Americans have maintained a very special connection with the animals in their natural world, one that has shaped and sustained their culture. So what we're going to do on this day, November the 19th, is we're going to honor that connection, and by having a celebration. And so we're going to have live bird exhibits, live bird flights. We're going to have Native American dancers, performers, and singers, drummers. We're going to have storytellers. We're going to have exhibitions, and we're going to have artisans selling their art. The goal of this celebration is to, bring these wild animals and Native Americans together and share that story of their connection and the importance of one to the other, to both a Native American audience, but also our general population that, might not be aware of that, would really, really appreciate to know that story, and it might have helped them reflect more positively on wildlife conservation and why it's important to Native Americans.
And when and where will this event be held?
The Living Wildlife Non-Eagle Feather Repository first annual Native American Culture and Wildlife Celebration will take place on November the 19th of this year from 9 to 4 p.m., and it will take place on the Liberty Wildlife campus, which is located at 2600 East Elwood Street here in Phoenix, Arizona.
Well, would like to thank you, Robert, for giving us all of this great information. Can you let us know how can our listeners learn more about the Liberty Wildlife Non-Eagle Feather Repository Program and how they can contact you if they wanted to get more information about any of the great programs that we just talked about?
Sure. So anybody who would like more information on Liberty Wildlife and or the Feather Repository can go to our webpage, which is www.libertywildlife, all one word, .org. On our webpage, they can learn about Liberty, but then they also can access the repository page via a link on the front page, and they can actually learn more about the Feather Repository and how to actually order feathers from the repository. And if they want to contact me or my assistant, our contact information is on the repository page.
Thank you, Robert, for taking time out to talk to us today, and we'll definitely look forward to your first annual Native American Culture and Celebration Day coming up on November 19th.
All right. Well, thank you very much for the opportunity to share this information. I really appreciate it.
Up next, Lanasha Puati chats with Kristy Pavatea. Support for KRDP 90.7 FM comes in part from Native Health, with 2 locations in Phoenix, 4041 North Central Avenue, Building C, near the corner of Central Avenue and Indian School Road, and at 2423 West Dunlap Avenue. Native Health is also located in Mesa at 777 West Southern Avenue, near the corner of Southern Avenue and Extension Road. Native Health's patient enrollment specialist can help you enroll, renew, or update your access information. This can be done in person, on the phone, or via Zoom, days, nights, or weekends. It's fast, easy, and can make a difference in keeping your health care coverage. For more information, call 602-285-9492.
Welcome back to Native Talk Arizona, presented by Native Health and KRDP 90.7 FM. I'm host Lanasha Puati. Kristy Pavatea is a teacher in the Tucson Unified School District, a member of the Hopi and Tiwa tribes of northern Arizona. Hello, Kristy, and welcome to our show.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing great. And before we get started, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Okay, I'm gonna nehedi poa na pobi ayun gang oka na vi popi ikawe Kristy Pavatea gang oka na alit owa olot owa katinet owa hangumo. Good afternoon. Thank you all for being here. My name is Kristy Pavatea. I come from the Parrot, Kachina, and Crow clans of Tewa Village. I am currently a 4th-year teacher within the Tucson Unified School District, and it's a pleasure having me here today.
That's awesome, and it's great to have you on our show today. Kristy, how and why did you get interested in education?
Education was something that has always been a strong part of my family in terms of our grandparents and my mom really allowing us to be within the educational system and pushing education in terms of being able to make change. So education has always been a part of my life in that format. In terms of teaching, it is a path that I did not seek, but it's a path that has found me, and I really appreciate that our paths have intertwined. And if it wasn't for that case, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. I moved back home in about 2010, and when I moved home to care for my mother. And at that time, moving home on the reservation, there aren't many job choices or career choices that allow one to financially support a family. And so my options were very limited when I moved back home to find employment, and that was either through the tribe, through the schooling system, or through the healthcare. And so I had seen that there was an advertisement for a teacher's assistant at one of our local schools, and so I applied. I went in for the interview, and I got hired on the spot, and so I started immediately as a teacher's assistant, and I worked as a TA for about 4 years. And it's through this experience of being a teacher's assistant that I realized that it's in our children, in our youth, where one can make and generate the most transformative change. And it was something that I just completely had no idea how to do, but something I completely fell in love with. I really enjoyed teaching. I looked forward to going to work every day and working with students of my community, and just being able to see them grow and build confidence in who they are and embrace their identities was something that was so empowering, that pushed me and motivated me to be an educator. And so the University of Arizona had a few mentors come out and speak with us about a program called the Indigenous Teacher Education Program through the University of Arizona. And it was through those workshops that I found like, hey, this is a perfect opportunity to go back to school to be an educator. I applied for the program. At that time, my mom was pretty sick, and so kind of I hesitated on telling her, but I figured that, if I get accepted, we'll make the changes and we'll deal with all of that if I get accepted, and then I'll talk to her about it. And if I don't, then I really don't have much to tell her, and life will continue as the way that it is. Unfortunately, my mom ended up passing before getting my acceptance letter, and it wasn't until maybe a couple weeks after she passed that I got my acceptance letter to U of A. And so it seemed like the perfect timing, like this is the next journey, this is, the next route on my path. I applied. It was a 2-year program through the University of Arizona. And through that program, just being able to immerse in ideologies of not just educational pedagogy and educational theories, but looking at a perspective of Indigenous educational theories and Indigenous education pedagogy was something that really inspired and empowered me to be the teacher that I am today.
Thank you for sharing that, Kristy, and I'm so sorry to hear about your mom, but it's great to hear your process on how you got into the University of Arizona's Indigenous Teachers Project. We just got through the pandemic, and COVID has really changed and shifted a lot of things. Can you tell us, how has education changed during COVID?
It has its positives and its negatives. I think one of the, I like to call them glows and grows. So I think one of the glows is that it's really allowed our students and our educators to reach our students at the level of where they are at in terms of technology use. And it's something that I didn't quite see implemented prior to the pandemic. So with everybody going on Zoom, everybody trying to figure out how to assign assignments with technology, allowing ways to communicate with families via technology, it's really embraced this whole different world of technology platforms that we can provide for our students. And I think with this format, it's really allowed that learning process to be more engaged to where our kiddos are at now. They're so immersed in TikToks and social media and Instagram and Vines and all of these things. So being able to explore that for the past couple of years has really, I've seen across the board, help educators connect more with their students in these formats. One of the growths I know for me was just that I think with COVID, it really impacted the way that our students socialize and how they interact with one another. And so being mindful of that, having to reteach and understand that they were isolated at home with only their family for, so many years, coming back into a social environment, having to reteach them just, basic concepts of how to have a conversation, how to build stamina, in listening to other people speak before I share my ideas. That's something that I feel has impacted a lot of not only me as a teacher, but other teachers as well. And, there was a little bit of rise in terms of behavior problems, but, I think that really just ties to the concept of having to reteach these social interactions.
And getting on to another topic, Kristy, can you let us know more about your recent national award that you received from Honored?
Oh my gosh. So Honored is a national nonprofit organization, and it's really dedicated to honoring and elevating great teachers throughout the nation. The biggest component of this award is that it is student nominated, and which it's really made me embrace this award more, is that knowing that I was nominated by my students is something that has truly been inspiring. It was a really big surprise, and it was something that took me a little while to embrace, primarily because I've only been teaching for 4 years, and I've known educators who have been teaching for a much longer time. And so in accepting the award, it was something that was taken very intentionally. And when I set out in my career, when I decided that this was the route to go, it wasn't going to be for celebrations, awards, or recognition. My biggest passion has always been to make an impact. And so when I accepted this award, I found humility in the notion that throughout this journey and throughout me getting here, that I've managed to stay true to those notions of being intentional and allowing my teaching to speak for itself. And I think one big thing has just been that I am the first Native American to receive this award. And so it's really been enlightening. And when I say that this isn't just for me, this is for all of us. This is for all of us as Indigenous people, primarily our youth in our communities, and allowing them to see that I came from a reservation. I am a product of reservational schooling, and to be in the formats and platforms that I am now, just hope to be an inspiration to others that dreams and goals are possible, even despite life obstacles.
Oh, yes, definitely. Thank you for sharing that, Kristy, and congratulations. That is a huge accomplishment, and thank you for making such an impact on your students and everyone overall. Can you let us know how can our listeners contact you if they have further questions?
I am available via Facebook. Kristy Pavatea is my username, as well as Instagram. You can email me at kristy.pavatea@tusd1.org. That's one way of contact. I have set my social media to the platforms of it being more of a networking platform versus personal, so feel free to contact me on there. If you want to collaborate, have any questions, comments, I'm more than willing to be open to answering those.
Well, I would like to thank you, Kristy, for taking time out to talk to us today, to tell us more about your amazing journey on how you got into teaching and about your award.
Thank you so much for having me. It's really been a pleasure being able to share my experience and being able to share the transformative work of not only Honored, but TUSD, University of Arizona, and the Indigenous Teacher Education Project.
Thank you for listening to Native Talk Arizona, presented by Native Health and 90.7 FM KRDP. Our executive producer is Susan Levy, sound engineer is Javier Quiroga, and our host is Lanasha Puadi. We hope you will tune in again next week. If you have any questions, please reach us at nativetalkaz@listen2krdp.com.